Hello, I hope you are having a lovely autumn so far. Today I wanted to do a slightly different field recording video. Usually my adventures take me to places quite far afield and I'm recording in environments that I've not been to before, and this time I wanted to do something a bit closer to home. So earlier this year I was sent this microphone called the SR3D binaural microphone by Alan from Audio with Intelligence, and it has been with me for quite a few months now and I've been meaning to use it. As you can see, I've taken it with me to quite a few places and it's a bit tattered around the edges, and I've been meaning to make a video with it, but for various work and family reasons I just haven't got around to it until now. So I'm very excited to try this out. You will see this microphone is very unique from just the way it looks. Here it is. This is the SR3D and it comes with its own silicone ears. If you don't know what binaural recording is, it's essentially a recording technique that mimics human hearing. So in here there are two microphones, one for each ear, and they're spaced to the distance of an average human head. And the effect is essentially when you're wearing headphones, it can feel as if you're in the environment, in the recording environment. One of the challenges of binaural recording is, of course, everyone's head is different, everyone's ears are different, they're spaced differently, the shape of them are different. So it's not an exact science, but it's an amazing way to create more immersive sound worlds. I'm very lucky to have a garden space where I live, and I have been meaning to plant some bulbs that will come up in spring. So I've got some snowdrops, I've got some tulips, I've got all sorts. So come along with me for a autumnal gardening adventure in my garden and we will do some binaural recording. Okay, let's get the SR3D set up. So one thing I loved about how this arrived and definitely made me chuckle is that it arrives with some cotton wool and a little bottle that you can use to have some cleaning fluid and to, I suppose, clean up your ears. I think because, you know, as you go around and have these in a backpack or in a bag, they do definitely pick up fluff along the way on this, what I think is silicone. So you can see there's some fluff that's from my backpack. So yeah, it's nice to have a very comedic form of cleaning your microphone. I've not seen that before. I love it. So these take phantom power, so you do need to power them through your audio interface. As per usual, I have my Mix Pre 6. So this is what I will record the audio onto. I have two XLR cables. So they will connect the SR3D to my Mix Pre 6. I'm going to screw this SR3D into my little tripod. I don't know if it exactly makes sense having this on a smaller tripod because I suppose you'd want it at the height of the human head. So I might move it onto a bigger tripod before I get recording. So I'm connecting my XLRs to the Mix Pre 6 into that one. I'll go into channel 1 and this into channel 2. And then, as per usual, I have my Anchor battery pack, which will power my Mix P6. The cable for that's on now, and so is this. Okay, so when I click my fingers, we are going to be in binaural. So if you haven't already, I recommend putting on some headphones so you can listen to this more spatially. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. We're in binaural. Okay, so here we have the SR3D. That's our left ear. That's our right ear. And I was just looking online at some of the recording instructions. So I have each channel. Let me get this onto... I have each channel pan to hard left and hard right. So I've got channel 1 pan to hard left, channel 1 pan to hard right, And then it recommends using gain levels at about 30 to 40 dB. So I have that at 40 dB. There we go. So that's what it recommends for mix presets. And it recommends that my headphone level is at a gain of about 70. And it says in these instructions that it might feel a bit quieter than what you're used to when you're recording. But actually it's really nice. What you realise is when you're recording, it sounds roughly the same when you're listening through headphones through to when you're listening out without headphones. And I think that's what makes really lovely naturalistic recordings possible, because you're not bumping it up. And then particularly I find if I'm recording an interview and I've got the gain on too high and I'm listening to all the sounds of the world at max volume, it can be really overwhelming and maybe skews our perception of what things actually sound like. So here we are. This feels really quite natural. So when Alan was talking to me about this microphone, he recommended using it as a listener, not as a shotgun microphone or another kind of microphone where you might put the microphone as close as possible to the source, or you just wouldn't use it in the way that a human would listen. With this, instead, he recommends imagining it as a person, imagining it as if you were out gardening, as I will be in a second. Maybe they're sitting on the bench, or maybe they're sitting by you. So I'm going to put this on a slightly taller tripod so it can be a person with me, and I'll head out into the garden. So this is my garden. I switched over to a voiceover, so the binaural sounds you'll be hearing are me planting bulbs and pottering around my garden. And along the way I'll describe a bit about what I'm doing. But I thought it'd be nice to start with just listening to the sounds of my garden. And as you'll hear, I am very much under the flight path. There are very regular planes, so they will definitely be accompanying our gardening today. So my first task is to clear out the planter where I've had tomatoes and courgettes growing over the summer. This is quite a satisfying job because I'm pulling out all these plants, and I let them hang on for quite a while because I know it's good to have coverage for wildlife. And it's been a really mild autumn, so I kept it going just in case we had any last minute tomatoes or courgettes. But today's the day to clear it out and make some space for some bulbs. So I have a variety of tulips here so that when they come out in spring there'll be a beautiful display of all sorts of different colours. And my dad taught me this fun trick, which is in order to make a more natural looking display of tulips or any flower or any plants, sometimes throwing it onto the soil and planting them where they land is a great way to give it that randomised, self-planted look. Then I used this tulip planter to get them in. It was very handy. It was the first time I'd used it, but I did find the soil kept clogging up the tool. Once that bed was done, to give myself a little break from planting bulbs, I went to my nasturtium and gave it a bit of a haircut because it is definitely trying to take over the garden. This time of year is also a really great time to look for seeds from your nasturtium, so you can plant them again next year. Next up, I'm planting some snowdrops, which are some great flowers for early pollinators in the UK. listening back to these binaural recordings, it's an interesting use, I think, because when I've used binaural microphones before, it's usually been in quite creative context. So for example, in the pandemic, I did a couple of audio dramas and the actors would go around the binaural microphones and you'd have this really immersive sense of voice. These recordings, I have just used the microphone as if you're standing next to me, so the binaural effect is quite subtle, but I do think as a listener, it does just bring you into that moment and into that space. You start to hear the sounds of my neighbours talking next door while they're doing their gardening, and you're definitely hearing every sound I am hearing. So my final task of today's gardening session is to make a bulb lasagna. So what this is essentially when you get a pot and you get a collection of varieties of bulbs. So I've got tulip bulbs, and you basically layer them up. And the effect is that in spring, particularly because some varieties, they come through at different times, you'll get this beautiful changing display of tulips. Here I'm adding in some perlite, which helps aerate the soil, and usually I would mix it in a bit more, but since I was just doing it in this pot, I just sort of plopped it in there and added some soil. So I'm definitely learning how to garden. This is my first proper year gardening on and off around work and around the rest of life, but I've been really enjoying just getting my hands dirty, learning more about plants, learning about the patch of land that I can make my mark on, and so I'm really excited to see how these turn out in spring. It is now 4:30 and the evening is drawing in. It is November now, so the nights are getting shorter, but what a lovely way to spend a Sunday afternoon. I feel very relaxed now. It was really nice getting my hands in the soil and just knowing that these bulbs are planted. It's probably something I should have done in October, but they're in the ground now, and it's also been so mild, so I feel like just those extra couple of weeks not in the ground won't matter too much. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today. I really enjoyed doing something a bit different and doing some gardening. I have been thinking about making some YouTube videos that are not specifically music or sound related. A huge part of my work is based around the natural world as well as crafts. With the podcast I make for Fern, which is called As the Season Turns, I make their found sound episodes. Each month I go and I interview a craftsperson or someone who works with the land in an interesting way. And this really stems from a curiosity I have with work that makes us use our hands, with things that get us outside, and as well as doing my field recording and sharing the behind the scenes of my music and also my music full stop with my music videos or my songs on YouTube, I would really love to also share some just behind the scenes of other things I enjoy, and maybe some adventures I go on. So if that sounds of interest, I'd love to hear from you. I have been thinking, should I set up a second YouTube channel for that? But talking to my brother, who also makes some videos on YouTube, he does a lot of cycling videos, so if that sounds of interest, go check him out. His name's Oscar Boyd. But he was saying, since I've got a small but growing audience here, it maybe makes sense just to make more videos here, even if they're not specifically sound related. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much to Audio with Intelligence for lending me this great mic. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed actually not having my headphones on and just doing what I was doing, knowing that this microphone would capture the sounds and the noises of my environment as if there was someone else just kind of there with me. So that was really nice, and I could just get stuck into the gardening. And yeah, I'd love to try it and use this in other places too, and just see what it's like when, you know, I'm not in a city environment, because obviously there's just planes going overhead all the time. But yeah, thank you so much. I am going off on tour on Tuesday, which is so exciting. So I will be taking some video along the way there with some behind the scenes of touring. If you're interested in that, and if you're based in Europe, in Switzerland, Italy, France, Spain or Portugal, I am going there with my friend Rachel Kitchley, who is a harpist, and we're supporting the composer Jan Tiersen, who has done so much amazing music, and the first time I ever heard his music was in the Amelie soundtrack. Yeah, so we're going to be doing a performance together. It's the first time we've done this together, so it's very exciting, very nerve-wracking, but it's going to be a mix of field recordings. Rachel's going to be playing harp, I'll be doing some synth and vocals, and we hope it will be a good, relaxing opener to then Jan Tiersen's amazing music. If that sounds of interest, go to the link in the description. You can find all the details on my website. If you'd like to support my work, you can subscribe to my newsletter on Substack, or you can buy a vinyl or a cassette tape. I also have some lyric booklets. But yeah, just even you being here and watching is fantastic support. So thank you so much for watching my Sunday afternoon gardening session. Bye!